Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. What if the very words you speak could open the doors to prosperity that have been locked for years? What if there was a divine key hidden in plain sight, waiting for your voice to set it free? I want you to imagine for a moment a life where financial stress no longer weighs you down, where abundance flows in ways you never thought possible, and where every step you take is guided by unseen hands orchestrating your breakthrough. You see, the Bible is not just a book to read. It is a treasure chest of promises, each word alive with power. And among those sacred words, there are psalms, ancient declarations that when spoken with faith become a catalyst for supernatural provision. Today, I'm going to show you how to speak a psalm and watch heaven move in your favor. Not tomorrow, not someday, but right now, the atmosphere around you can change. The chains of lack can break, and your financial destiny can shift. I want you to feel this deep in your spirit. This is not theory. This is not motivational talk. This is a divine principle waiting to be activated by your faith-filled words. As you speak, you are aligning yourself with the authority of heaven. You are claiming what God has already provided. You are declaring victory before the evidence appears, because faith knows no limitation. So I urge you as we go deeper, do not just listen, engage, declare, proclaim. Let your words carry the weight of expectation, for expectation invites manifestation. Let your heart align with the promise, and let your mouth release it into reality. Now I invite you to take this moment seriously. Liking this message is not just an acknowledgement. It is a declaration of your readiness. Sharing it is a sacred act. Spreading the seed of breakthrough to others who need it, and commenting the number 99 is more than a gesture. It is a symbolic decree, affirming your faith that abundance is arriving. Listen carefully, because this is where revelation begins to stir. When you speak a psalm aloud with faith, you are not merely reciting words. You are activating a divine mechanism that has been in motion since the foundation of the world. Every letter, every syllable carries spiritual authority. Psalm 112 says, "The good man shall be satisfied with prosperity, and his righteousness endureth forever." A psalm uttered tweed. Do you feel the weight of that promise? It is not a suggestion. It is a guarantee waiting to be claimed by your voice. Many people pray in hope, but few understand the power of declaration. To declare a psalm is to step into the spiritual realm with authority, commanding the invisible forces to align with God's promise for your life. Think about it. The same words that David spoke in a cave or on a battlefield, trembling yet trusting, are the very words that can unlock blessings in your own home, your own bank account, your own career. You are not just reading. You are releasing heaven into your situation. Imagine your finances as a river, dammed by years of fear, doubt, and mismanagement. Each word you speak is a hammer striking that dam, and the waters of abundance begin to flow. Psalm 23 tells us, "The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want." Psalm 23:1, do you see it? The lack you have experienced is not permanent. It is a shadow, and your voice lifted in faith is the light that exposes it, breaks it, and removes it. Every declaration you make against lack is a spiritual assault on poverty. And the Lord is fighting on your behalf. But here is the secret. It is not enough to whisper. You must speak with conviction. You must feel the words resonate in your spirit as if you are conversing directly with the Almighty. Psalm 37:4 says, "Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. So peace." Psalm 374, speaking the psalm aligns your desire with God's will. It is faith in action, not passive hope. The moment you declare, the moment your mouth releases those sacred words, the universe begins to respond. You may ask, why a psalm? Why not just pray? Because psalms are promises written in the language of eternity. They are prophetic. They are designed to penetrate the heavens and cause a shift in the atmosphere around you. When David spoke, mountains moved. When you speak, mountains of debt, scarcity, and limitation begin to crumble. Psalm 3:4-10 reminds us, "The young lions do lack and suffer hunger, but they that seek the Lord shall not want any good thing." Psalm 3:14 uttered, do you see the connection? Your declaration is your pursuit. Your words are the instrument that moves heaven to provide. And yet this power demands precision. Faith without action is dormant, and words without authority are empty. When you deliberately choose the Psalms, study its words, meditate upon them, and speak them with expectation, you are participating in a sacred act of creation. Psalm 118:17 says, "I shall not die but live and declare the works of the Lord." See Psalm 118:1 Hagin. When you declare, you are living in the promise, not in the problem. You are taking ownership of God's provision and stepping out of the shadows of lack into the light of abundance. Visualize now as you speak invisible doors beginning to open. Opportunities that were hidden, connections that seemed impossible, resources that were out of reach, they begin to move toward you. This is not coincidence. This is the law of faith activated by your declaration. Psalm 91 says, "Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High thy habitation, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling." Psalm 91:100. Notice how your spoken word aligns with protection, provision, and supernatural favor all at once. Every time you lift your voice, You are not only unlocking financial breakthrough, you are affirming your identity as a child of God, entitled to the abundance of heaven. The psalm becomes your trumpet of victory, announcing to the spiritual realm that you are ready to receive. Psalm 24:9-1 declares, "The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein." Psalm 24:1, when you speak, you are claiming a portion of that fullness, not by your strength, not by your intellect, but by the authority granted to you as a believer. Now picture this. The atmosphere around you shifts with every word. Angels are dispatched. Chains of limitation are broken. Open doors appear where walls once stood. This is not imagination. It is the tangible outcome of a spoken psalm. Your voice is your instrument of change, and heaven responds to expectation, precision, and faith. The moment you embrace this principle, financial breakthrough is no longer a dream. It is imminent, inevitable, and unstoppable. And so, as you prepare to lift your voice, do not hesitate. Let your heart pound with anticipation. Let your spirit tremble with excitement, and let your mouth release words that will shake your world. Every syllable is a spark that ignites the fire of provision, and the breakthrough you have been waiting for is on the cusp of manifesting. Now that you understand the power that lies within speaking of psalm, let us go even deeper into the realm of authority and expectation. You see, words are not just sounds. They are spiritual instruments capable of moving mountains, parting seas, and opening doors that no human effort can force. When you declare a psalm over your finances, you are entering into a covenant of faith, aligning yourself with promises that have existed for centuries, written and preserved to ensure your breakthrough. Psalm 103 declares, "His work is honorable and glorious, and his righteousness endureth forever." Every word you speak carries weight because it is partnered with divine intent. Imagine for a moment the power that rests in your tongue. Proverbs 18-21 says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof." Can you feel the responsibility your words can create or destroy, bless or curse? When you choose to speak a psalm, you are consciously creating a channel through which heaven can pour provision. The atmosphere changes. The spiritual realm aligns itself with your declaration. You are no longer waiting passively for circumstances to shift. You are calling them into alignment with God's will. Think about the times when God responded to faith-filled speech in the Bible. Abraham spoke to the mountain of impossibility regarding Isaac. Moses spoke to the Red Sea, and the waters obeyed. Joshua spoke to the walls of Jericho, and they fell. These were not casual utterances. They were deliberate declarations spoken in faith, backed by understanding and empowered by expectation. Psalm 20:16-4 says, "Grant thee according to thine own heart, and fulfill all thy counsel." When you speak with authority, you are stepping into that same principle, invoking God's counsel for your financial life. But here is the element most people miss: expectation fuels manifestation. You cannot merely whisper a psalm and hope for change. Your spirit must resonate with certainty. Psalm 37:5 instructs, "Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass." Speaking a psalm is not passive. It is a deliberate act of faith. Your expectation sends a signal to heaven, and your words are the vehicle through which divine intervention flows. Now, let's examine the mechanics of this spiritual principle. Each psalm contains embedded promises, keys to unlock provision, protection, and favor. When you declare, you are essentially operating within a sacred framework of alignment. Psalm 68:19 declares, "Blessed be the Lord, who daily loadeth us with benefits, even the God of our salvation." Each time you speak, you are claiming these benefits personally. You are reminding heaven that the promise belongs to you, and you are releasing faith into action. Consider how this principle works in the natural realm. Your finances, your resources, and your opportunities are not stagnant. They respond to spiritual laws just as surely as water flows downhill. When you lift your voice with authority, declaring a psalm, you are initiating movement in the invisible realm that inevitably manifests in the tangible realm. Psalm 129:3 reinforces this. "Wealth and riches shall be in his house, and his righteousness endureth forever." You are not praying for wealth in vague terms. You are invoking a sacred promise, activating a law that heaven cannot ignore. But the breakthrough is not only about abundance. It is also about transformation. Speaking a psalm reshapes your thinking, aligns your emotions with faith, and releases a new level of spiritual maturity. Psalm 17:3 says, "And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doth shall prosper." When your words become declarations of faith, you are planting yourself firmly in God's provision, rooted in promises that produce fruit in due season. Now, imagine the atmosphere around you thickening with expectation. Angels begin to move. Opportunities appear. Ideas you never considered take shape. Connections that were blocked are suddenly released. The spiritual realm responds instantly to your declarations. Psalm 145:1 reminds us, "Thou openest thine hand and satisfiest the desire of every living thing." Every spoken word, every faith-filled sentence is a key unlocking doors that have long been closed. And yet precision is critical. This is not about mindless repetition. This is about intentionality. Psalm 23:5 tells us, "Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over." Speaking a psalm is a spiritual strategy. It requires focus, understanding, and the expectation that God will honor his word. Your declaration sets the stage, aligns the universe, and invites supernatural favor to manifest. Feel now the tension building, the anticipation rising within your spirit. Every declaration you speak is a spark igniting the fire of provision, breaking the chains of limitation, and releasing abundance in ways that defy human reasoning. The power of a spoken psalm is immediate and unstoppable. And the moment you fully embrace this truth, the financial breakthrough you have longed for will no longer be delayed. So lift your voice and do not restrain it. Let every syllable resonate with faith. Let every word carry authority. And let your expectation be so palpable that heaven itself bends the answer. Your breakthrough is not coming. It is being released now. Now that you are stepping into the revelation of spoken psalms and the authority they carry, it is crucial to understand the spiritual alignment required to see your words manifest into tangible financial breakthrough. You see, it is one thing to speak. It is another to speak with an understanding that your words are anchored in divine promises. Psalm 1 and 203 tells us, "But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doth shall prosper." To speak a psalm effectively, your heart, mind, and spirit must be planted firmly in the truth of God's word. Think about this carefully. When you declare a psalm over your finances, you are not merely hoping for change. You are stepping into a covenant of expectation. Each word is a seed, each declaration a command that heaven responds to. Psalm 12, I 13 reinforces this. "Praise ye the Lord. Blessed is the man that feareth the Lord, that delighteth greatly in his commandments. His seed shall be mighty upon earth. The generation of the upright shall be blessed. Wealth and riches shall be in his house." The promise is not abstract. It is specific. And your spoken words are the vehicle that releases it. But this is where many stumble. They speak without understanding, without expectancy, without the faith that the words themselves carry life. When you meditate on the psalm, internalize its promises, and then proclaim it, you are activating a spiritual law. Proverbs 3, 9, 10 says, "Honor the Lord with thy substance, and with the first fruits of all thine increase. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine." Notice the connection between honor declaration, and abundance. Your spoken psalm is an offering of faith, a tangible act of trust that heaven cannot ignore. Now imagine the invisible forces that govern your life being stirred by your voice. When David spoke, nations trembled. When you speak in faith, the strongholds of poverty delay and lack are shaken. Psalm 30:40-10 says, "The young lions do lack and suffer hunger, but they that seek the Lord shall not want any good thing." Each time you declare, you are actively seeking, and seeking in this way brings provision, opens doors, and shifts your destiny. Expectation is your spiritual engine. Without it, words are empty. With it, they become weapons of breakthrough. Psalm 37:78 instructs, "Rest in the Lord and wait patiently. For him fret not thyself, because of him who prospereth in his way. Because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass, cease from anger, and forsake wrath, fret not thyself. It tendeth only to evil." Your declaration must be accompanied by confidence, trust, and a refusal to allow doubt to creep in. The moment expectation meets declaration, the atmosphere begins to change. There is a sacred rhythm to speaking psalms. It is not haphazard, not casual, not whispered half-heartedly. Psalm 20:13 reminds us, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake." Speaking this psalm aloud with authority, and faith restores your soul and positions you in the path of provision. You are not merely asking. You are declaring God's care, his guidance, and his supply in your life. Consider also the effect on your spiritual atmosphere. Every word you speak lifts the veil between the natural and the supernatural. Psalm 145:16 says, "Thou openest thine hand, and satisfiest the desire of every living thing." Your declaration is the act that unlocks that open hand. It is the key that releases provision into the natural realm. Each psalm you speak is a spiritual command, not a passive hope. But beware, precision and intention are crucial. Psalm 118:17 declares, "I shall not die but live and declare the works of the Lord." It is not enough to speak. You must declare. Your words must carry expectation, authority, and alignment with God's will. Your faith must resonate through your voice, your posture, your heart. Every spoken psalm is a proclamation that sets the stage for heaven to respond. Now, picture your life transforming as you continue to declare. Obstacles crumb open, opportunities appear, and resources flow in ways beyond human reasoning. Psalm 30:74 tells us, "Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart." Speaking the psalm is delighting yourself in God, activating his promises, and positioning yourself to receive what he has already ordained for you. The intensity of this moment cannot be overstated. Every word you release is a spark igniting provision, a key unlocking doors, a command that heaven obeys. Financial breakthrough is no longer a distant dream. It is a present reality waiting for your voice to bring it forth. As you speak, the spiritual and natural realms converge, and the power of a psalm becomes undeniable, unstoppable, and immediate. As you continue to embrace the revelation of speaking psalms over your finances, it is vital to understand that this is more than a spiritual exercise. It is a declaration that shifts both the invisible and the visible. When you lift your voice with authority, you are entering into a sacred dialogue with heaven itself. Psalm 24:1 declares, "The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein." Every resource, every opportunity, every blessing that has ever existed belongs to God. And your words are the vehicle that releases these blessings into your hands. Many believers have yet to grasp the profound power that lies in spoken psalms. Each syllable is infused with life, each declaration a spiritual key. Psalm 349:10 says, "Oh, fear the Lord, ye his saints, for there is no one to them that fear him." The young lions do lack and suffer hungers, but they that seek the Lord shall not want any good thing. Notice how seeking and speaking go hand in hand. Your words, spoken with expectation, are your seeking made manifest. They are the proof that your faith is alive, active, and demanding a response from heaven. When you speak a psalm, you are not merely uttering words. You are declaring authority over lack, limitation, and delay. Psalm 68:19 tells us, "Blessed be the Lord who daily loadeth us with benefits, even the God of our salvation." Do you see it? Benefits, blessings, abundance. They are all being loaded toward you every day. Your declaration is the act that positions you to receive them. The atmosphere around you begins to change the moment your lips release faith-filled words. Expectation intensifies the power of your declaration. Psalm 30:75 says, "Come thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass." Commitment, trust, and expectation are inseparable from the act of speaking a psalm. When your heart fully believes that your words will yield results, you are no longer asking passively. You are commanding actively. This is the difference between praying for provision and speaking it into existence. Consider the mechanics of the spiritual realm. Every spoken psalm sends a vibration into the unseen world. Angels are dispatched, doors are opened, and the chains of financial delay begin to crumble. Psalm 91:12 says, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In him will I trust." Speaking the psalm positions you under divine protection and provision, a place where lack cannot penetrate. But this is not merely about abundance. It is about transformation. Psalm 17:3 reminds us, and he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doth shall prosper. The spoken psalm transforms your mindset, aligns your spirit with heaven, and positions you to bear fruit in due season. Each declaration you make is a planting of a seed, a spiritual act that yields tangible results in the natural realm. Precision is crucial. Psalm 118:117 says, I shall not die, but live and declare the works of the Lord. You must declare with intention, understanding, and faith. Random words, empty repetition, or half-hearted utterances do not release the same power. Your declaration must carry authority, resonate with expectation, and reflect alignment with God's promises. This is why meditation on the psalm before declaration is essential. It tunes your spirit, focuses your mind, and ensures that your words carry weight in both heaven and earth. Visualize the effect of your spoken psalm. Mountains of debt crumble. Opportunities that seemed impossible manifest. Doors that were shut open wide. Psalm 123 reinforces this. Wealth and riches shall be in his house, and his righteousness endureth forever. Speaking the psalm is claiming a portion of that wealth, not by your effort alone, but by the authority of your voice paired with God's covenant promises. As you speak, the spiritual atmosphere around you becomes charged with expectation. Psalm 145:5-16 says, Thou openest thine hand, and satisfiest the desire of every living thing. Each word you release is a key, a spark, a command that heaven cannot ignore. Your breakthrough is not delayed by human limitation. It is only delayed by the faithfulness and intensity of your declaration. Feel the tension rising, the anticipation swelling within your spirit. Every syllable you release is a spark igniting provision. Every declaration a hammer breaking the chains of limitation. Every word a trumpet calling forth abundance. The power of a spoken psalm is immediate, unstoppable, and transformative. And as you prepare to speak again, know that what you release today is already moving, already aligning, and already manifesting in ways that defy human understanding. As you continue to grasp the magnitude of speaking psalms over your finances, it becomes essential to understand that the spoken word is not just a tool. It is a spiritual weapon. Every syllable carries authority. Every declaration commands the unseen. And every faith-filled utterance sets in motion a chain reaction in both heaven and earth. Psalm 33:3 says, Sing unto him a new song plays skillfully with a loud noise. Your words, when spoken with understanding and expectation, are instruments that move the hand of God to release provision, favor, and breakthrough. Imagine for a moment the power in your voice, not just as sound, but as a divine force that pierces the veil held between the natural and supernatural. Psalm 34:107 tells us, "The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him and delivereth them." When you declare Absalom over your finances, angels are dispatched to your aid. Obstacles begin to dissolve. Hidden doors swing open, and the chains of delay and lack begin to crumble. Your words are not idle. They are sparks that ignite heaven's response. Many believers underestimate this principle. They pray, they hope, but their words carry no weight because they are spoken without expectation, without faith, without alignment with God's promises. Psalm 374:4-5 declares, "Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass." Speaking a psalm is an act of delight, commitment, and trust. It is a declaration that what God has promised will be released into your hands. The mechanics of the spiritual principle are simple yet profound. Each psalm contains embedded promises, keys to unlock financial abundance, protection, and divine favor. When you declare these psalms, you are activating a law that heaven cannot ignore. Psalm 6:6-19 says, "Blessed be the Lord, who daily loadeth us with benefits, even the God of our salvation." Your spoken word positions you to receive these benefits, aligning your spirit with God's provision. Expectation is the engine that drives manifestation. Psalm 12:9-3 tells us, "Wealth and riches shall be in his house, and his righteousness endureth forever." Your words, spoken in faith, become the vehicle that transports these riches from the spiritual realm into your natural circumstances. You are not merely asking, you are declaring. You are not passively hoping. You are actively commanding heaven to respond. Consider how this principle functions in the natural realm. Every spoken psalm releases a vibration into the unseen world, setting angels and divine forces into motion. Psalm 9:1-11 declares, "For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways." Your declaration calls forth heavenly intervention, aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities in your favor. The moment your words are released, the spiritual atmosphere begins to shift and doors that were previously closed swing open. But this is not only about financial increase, it is also about transformation. Psalm 173 reminds us, "And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doth shall prosper." Speaking a psalm transforms your spirit, reshapes your mindset, and positions you to bear fruit in every area of life Your declaration is the seed, and your faith is the water that causes it to grow. Precision and intention are critical. Psalm 118:17 says, I shall not die but love and declare the works of the Lord. It is not enough to speak casually or without understanding. Each declaration must be intentional, carried with authority, and spoken with expectation. The power lies in the alignment of your heart, mind, and spirit with the promises contained in the psalm. This is how the supernatural becomes natural. How heaven meets earth, and how your breakthrough becomes inevitable. Picture now the scene unfolding in your life. Mountains of debt are crumbling. Opportunities once hidden are being revealed. Favor is moving toward you at a supernatural speed. Psalm 145:16 declares, Thou openest thine hand and satisfies the desire of every living thing. Every word you speak is a key unlocking provision. Every declaration of hammer, breaking limitations, and every syllable a trumpet, announcing the arrival of abundance. Feel the anticipation, the tension rising within you. Every declaration you make is a spark igniting provision, a command shaking the chains of lack, a spiritual act that heaven cannot resist. The power of a spoken psalm is immediate, unstoppable, and transformative. And as you continue to lift your voice, the financial breakthrough you have been longing for is no longer a distant hope. It is a force moving toward you, ready to manifest with intensity, speed, and certainty. Engage fully in this sacred act. Liking in this message is a declaration of your readiness. Sharing, it spreads the seed of provision to others who need it. Commenting the number 99 is a symbolic decree, affirming that your faith is active, your declaration is strong, and your breakthrough is imminent. The moment you speak, heaven responds, and your destiny shifts before your very eyes. Now that you have stepped fully into the revelation of spoken psalms, it is crucial to grasp that each declaration is more than words. It is a spiritual decree with authority to transform your life instantly. When you speak a psalm over your finances, you are engaging in a divine dialogue that commands heaven to respond. Psalm 2313 declares, The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He lift me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He lit me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Each phrase you speak positions you under God's provision, aligning your spirit with the flow of supernatural favor. Consider the unseen realm surrounding you. Angels, spiritual forces, and divine principles respond to your words with precision. Psalm 9:11 reminds us, For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. Your declaration summons these forces into action, clearing obstacles, opening doors, and releasing the resources that have been prepared for you. Speaking of psalm is not passive. It is a deliberate act of authority that moves heaven on your behalf. Many believers fail to recognize that expectation is as important as the words themselves. Proverbs 18:21 says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof." You must speak with the certainty that what you declare will manifest. Your words are not merely sounds. They are commands with life-ordering power. Psalm 374:105 instructs, "Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass." When your spoken psalm is accompanied by delight, commitment, and unwavering trust, it triggers a response from heaven that cannot be ignored. The mechanics of spoken psalms are profound. Each psalm contains embedded promises that act as spiritual keys. Psalm 6:18-19 says, "Blessed be the Lord who daily loadeth us with benefits, even the God of our salvation." Speaking of psalm is an intentional act of unlocking those benefits, positioning you to receive the fullness of God's provision. It is not about hoping or wishing. It is about declaring and expecting supernatural results. Precision matters. Psalm 180:17 says, "I shall not die, but live and declare the works of the Lord." Random repetition or casual speech will not release the same power. You must declare with authority, aligning your heart and spirit with the meaning of the psalm. Psalm 23 reinforces this. "Wealth and riches shall be in his house, and his righteousness endureth forever." Speaking the psalm is claiming a tangible portion of these riches, not through human effort alone, but through faith activated by your words. As you speak, visualize the shift in both the spiritual and natural realms. Mountains of limitation crumble. Doors of opportunity swing wide, and resources appear that were once hidden. Psalm 4:5-16 declares, "Thou openest thin hand and saddest a thing." Your words are the spark that triggers this opening. Each declaration is a hammer breaking chains of lack, a trumpet announcing abundance, and a key unlocking the storehouse of heaven. But the spoken psalm is not only about abundance, it is about transformation. Psalm 1:3 says, "And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doth shall prosper." Your declaration nurtures your spirit, aligns your mind with God's promises, and positions you to bear fruit in every area of life. Each word becomes a seed planted in faith, watered by expectation and destined to produce tangible results. Now feel the intensity rising within you. Every syllable you speak is igniting provision, shaking off limitation, and releasing the favor that has been waiting for your declaration. Psalm 34:10 says, The young lions do lack and suffer hunger, but they that seek the Lord shall not want any good thing. Speaking the psalm is your active seeking, a deliberate move that heaven cannot ignore. Engagement is essential. Liking this message is a sacred acknowledgement of readiness. Sharing it spreads the seed of provision to others, and commenting the number 99 is more than a gesture. It is a spiritual decree affirming that your faith is activated and your breakthrough is imminent. Psalm 37:7 says, "Rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass." As you release your words in faith, the atmosphere shifts, chains break, and abundance begins to manifest. Picture the moment when heaven fully responds to your declaration. Doors that were firmly closed swing open. Opportunities that seemed impossible manifest instantly. Angels move with speed and precision, aligning every detail in your favor. Psalm 34:9 tells us, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him." The spoken psalm is your declaration that God's goodness is not distant. It is arriving now, unstoppable and overflowing.